Hello everyone. Today I'll be presenting on the topic the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor (CPEC) and its security implications on India.
माइक माइक नजदीक करो और कैमरा थोड़ा सा एडजस्ट करो. Yeah.
Here are the contents of my presentation. The background behind the CPEC, which is the OBOR initiative, the One Belt One Road initiative. The CPEC, I'll be explaining what the project is about and what are its key features. What are Pakistan's gains if this particular project is completed? What will be China's gains? What are India's concerns and the security implications on our country. And then I'll explain another key important issue, which is CPEC and the Malacca dilemma, which is a very critical issue associated with CPEC. And I'll finally conclude. To explain the background behind the CPEC, which is the One Belt, One Road initiative. Now, if we see the One Belt, One Road initiative is China's ambitious project, which has been launched by Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, in the year 2013. And it intends to link Asia, particularly mainland China, with Europe and Africa through an overland belt and a maritime Silk Road. So I have highlighted two key words over here, belt and road. Now, if we see the belt element of this project talks of the overland routes and the continental routes, where the trade and the interaction happens through land. And the maritime Silk Road basically talks about maritime trade routes, which is trade happening using the oceans through the seas. Now, if we see at the bottom of the slide, essentially this particular project consists of two components, as I explained, land-based Silk Road economic belt, which consists of 6 land economic corridors. And secondly, we have the ocean-going maritime Silk Road, which will help in facilitating the maritime trade and the help in bringing about a maritime route for trade. So if we see the entire world map in front of us, the pink elements of this particular project have been marked, showing 6 economic development corridors. And if we see the blue elements, they show the 21st century maritime Silk Road, which talks of the maritime sea routes for trade under this particular entire initiative. Now, what is significant about this is that out of the land-based routes, 1 out of the 6 land corridors, the 6 economic corridors, one of them is the China-Pakistan economic corridor. So I'll move on to explain specifically the CPEC and what are its salient features. If we see the map on the right, the map on the right basically indicates a particular red line, and that red line is the route of the China-Pakistan economic corridor from Kashgar in Xinjiang province of China to Gwadar port in the Baluchistan province of Pakistan. So as I said, this is a trade energy corridor which is linking Kashgar region in Xinjiang to Gwadar port in Pakistan, and it is approximately 3,000 kilometers long. If we see this particular project, it consists of highways, railways, pipelines, and multiple infrastructure projects, hydropower projects, energy projects, and not just with respect to connectivity, but there are more other domains like science and technology and agriculture involved. The financing of this project will be done by heavily subsidized loans that will be disbursed to the government of Pakistan by Chinese banks. Now, if we ask strategic experts in India and across the world, this looks to be a typical case of a debt trap, which China keeps playing and the debt diplomacy it keeps playing. For example, we saw in the Hambantota port with respect to Sri Lanka. There is a similar chance of this happening here as well. And there is one study done by Center for Global Development, which says that Pakistan is one of the 8 most vulnerable countries that are under high risk of debt distress. So there is a high chance of another debt trap over here capturing Pakistan done by China. Now, this particular project was originally valued at 46 to 47 billion dollars when it was launched, and the value of the project in the year 2020 came to approximately 62 billion dollars, where they also started establishing industrial zones, and the approximate value and the estimated value in the future is going to be approximately 87 billion dollars. Now, if we understand China-Pakistan economic corridor from Pakistan's perspective, if this particular corridor gets implemented and completed, what could be Pakistan's gains? We can understand from here, from this slide. These are the four crucial points which I wanted to make, and I'll explain them one by one. Now, if we see, if this particular corridor is completed, first thing what it will do is it will deepen economic ties with China, Pakistan's economic ties with China. Now we already know the kind of bonhomie both these countries share, the kind of brotherhood these countries share, and with the coming of this corridor, this will even deepen on an economic level. Secondly, this particular corridor has a potential to boost the economic scenario within Pakistan, their own economy. Now, their economy is already battered because of the current COVID-19 crisis and also previously because of many reasons. But this particular project, it promises a lot of employment opportunities for the people of Pakistan, which in turn can help in improving the economic scenario within Pakistan. Thirdly, this particular project will cater to the energy needs of Pakistan. Now, as we know, this particular project has a lot of energy projects in it. The CPEC has a lot of energy projects. Large scale energy production is a key element. So the hydropower projects, the solar power plants, they can actually have a potential to double Pakistan's energy capacity. So that will be the third gain of Pakistan, and also it will help a lot in the coal and energy sector of Pakistan. Fourthly, it will help a lot in their infrastructure development. Now, if we see, being a developing country, Pakistan still has very poor infrastructure facilities. But through the rail and the road network, which is coming about, which is approximately worth $10 billion, Pakistan expects infrastructure enhancement in their country. So this is CPEC from Pakistan's perspective and the gains which can come about if this project gets completed. Now, if we understand this particular issue from China's perspective and what could be the gains if what could be the gains if this project is completed, here are four more points which I've come about with, and I'll explain them one by one. Now, the first thing which will happen for China will be the development of the Kashgar, which is present in the Xinjiang province. And I had shown in the map itself, it is one end of this particular project. Now, Kashgar is present in a particular province called as Xinjiang, which is a very underdeveloped province. So if this project comes into execution, it has a chance to develop this region, and it can even help in deepening the engagement with the rest of China, the mainland China. Secondly, China will gain a lot of benefits from the Gwadar port, which is the other end of this particular corridor. Now, what is said is when the Gwadar port becomes fully operational, there is a high chance that Chinese Navy, they will use this port for military purposes. And this is a high possibility and one of the benefits which they can get, and is a threat to our country, India. Thirdly, we have the strategic and the geopolitical advantage in the Indian Ocean, which they will get. Now, CPEC, if you see, gives China a foothold in the western part of the Indian Ocean due to the Gwadar port present there. So access to this particular region will allow China greater potential to control the maritime trade in this region, which can be a threat to India because 60% of India's oil supplies come from the Middle East, from the Gulf. And the Gulf is a particular region which is very close to the Gwadar port, which is a part of the CPEC. Fourthly, the most immediate thing which China will gain is the land access to the Indian Ocean and a much more shortened trade route, because the general trade route is a maritime trade route which they follow from the Straits of Malacca to the Indian Ocean to the Arabian Sea to interact with the Gulf for trade. So it cuts down 13,000 kilometers of sea voyage from the Straits of Malacca to just 2,000 kilometers from Kashgar to Gwadar port. And I'll explain more about this when I explain about the Malacca dilemma. Now, if we see India's concern about the corridor, the first concern India has, the most immediate, that is a threat to India's sovereignty. Now, the corridor threatens the national sovereignty and the territorial integrity of our nation. Now, if we see the map on the right, the map indicates that this corridor, which is shown in the, which is basically a dash line. If we see the dotted line present, this dotted line indicates the route of the corridor, and it shows that it is passing through the Gilgit-Baltistan area of Kashmir, which is currently illegally occupied by Pakistan. And this corridor enters into Gilgit-Baltistan through the Kujerab Pass. Now, this area, if you see the entire region of Jammu and Kashmir, is a part of the erstwhile this area, the Gilgit-Baltistan region, is a part of the erstwhile princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, and in turn a part of India. Since the ruler of this princely state, Maharaja Hari Singh, he had signed an instrument of accession with India and acceded the territory of the entire territory of Jammu and Kashmir to India in October 1947, on 26th of October 1947. So this is the most immediate thing and a threat to India's sovereignty and our territorial integrity, because this particular corridor, it passes essentially through our region, currently illegally occupied by Pakistan. Now, coming specifically to the security implications on India, here are the 4 security implications which will come on India. First being increased Chinese presence in the Indian Ocean region. As I'd explained before, they'll get a much shorter route to access the Indian Ocean region, and is a matter of concern and threat again for our trade in that region. Second is the Chinese encirclement of India, not just through the CPEC, but also other projects like the China-Myanmar Economic Corridor, the building of the ports like the Hambantota port, and the in general encirclement which they're trying to do. That will also that is also a big cause of concern and a threat to our country. Thirdly, it'll increase Chinese military's presence in Pakistan, with one of them, as I hinted, increase in Chinese Navy's presence in at the Gwadar port, and they can use that region for military purposes. And fourthly, and most importantly, China's increasing footprints in this region is detrimental. It's very harmful to India's strategic hold. Now, what I mean by that is the Indian Ocean region, India's presence in the Indian Ocean region is very prominent and very significant. And this has also been acknowledged by United States, which previously called the Asia Pacific Command. That command is now called as the Indo-Pacific Command. So if we see the kind of strategic hold which India has in the entire Indian Ocean region, but with increase in China's presence in this region, it will be detrimental to our India's strategic hold in the entire of IOR. Now, finally, coming to the last part of the presentation, CPEC and the Malacca dilemma. Now, just to explain the Malacca dilemma, here is a particular map of representing the Straits of Malacca, which lies in between the Malay Peninsula and the Sumatra Islands of Indonesia. It's a narrow stretch of water, and it's a very important global artery for global trade, and a lot of ships move a lot in this particular region. And also with respect to China, a lot of trade happens for their country. So the Malacca dilemma, if we see, the Straits of Malacca provide China with its shortest maritime access to Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. Because approximately 80% of its Middle Eastern energy imports and oil and gas imports from the Middle East, they pass through the Straits of Malacca. So if I just have to use the pointer pen and indicate, if the Gulf region is present in this region, in this side, the imports come all the way from here to the Indian Ocean, all the way to the Straits of Malacca, and moving to the South China Sea, either going to Hong Kong or to mainland China to Shanghai. So if you see, this is the regular maritime route of the entire energy imports coming from the Middle East, and 80% is a very big proportion if you see. So what China says is that in an event where China faces hostile actions from state or non-state actors, the energy imports coming from the maritime route through the Straits of Malacca could be halted. And this will in turn paralyze the Chinese economy. So if you see, along with this, there is a similar issue of contention in the South China Sea with respect to the 9-dash line and the tensions which China has with many Southeast Asian countries. So if we see, this entire region for China is very insecure, firstly because of any hostile action by state or non-state actors, because we know there is a lot of patrolling of US Navy ships in this region, and the South China Sea, where China's trade also flows through. This is again a big, a very volatile region for China and the other Southeast Asian nations. So therefore, in order to overcome this dilemma and to overcome this kind of an insecurity, this kind of a vulnerability which China has, China is moving towards overland routes. So if we see the overland routes which they are moving, is they're moving from the western region of China all the way to Gwadar in Pakistan, in the Balochistan province. So they're taking land routes instead of the maritime routes. And one example of it is the CPEC, and this actually forms the entire background behind the Belt and Road Initiative, because they want to shift primarily from the maritime routes to overland routes, so that they can, cater to this vulnerability and solve this issue of the Malacca dilemma. To just quickly conclude, the CPEC is a trade energy corridor consisting of different infrastructure projects. And as it passes through the POK, it is violating India's sovereignty claim over that area. And what India should do is it should reassess, and to contain this threat, it should reassess the potential benefits and limitations of the Obor project, and should also work on developing its own strategic projects like the Chahabar port in Iran, the Asia Africa growth corridor, which is much more people centric as compared to the Obor. And with that, we'll be able to contain this threat of CPEC and ultimately the BRI. Yes, sir.
चलो, very nicely covered. I hope सभी को ये पता है this is an important topic. एंड ना आप मैप के रेफरेंस में करोगे तो इन चीज़ों को समझना बहुत आसान है, जैसे ही शोड द मैरिटाइम रूट एंड द लैंड रूट. तो आई होप ऑल ऑफ यू, स्पेशली सर्विस एंट्री, these things should help you to get a kick start कि इसके ऊपर आप बिल्ड अप करो, है ना. वेरी नाइसली कवर्ड जोशी, गुड, है ना.